Okay, folks, welcome back to the channel, Clunkers and Classics. I'm going to go over and show you one of my classics, 1977 Corvette. My dog Puppy always with me. Again, as I said in the other videos, I just rinsed it off because these cars get so dirty here. I'm not going to go over and give it a perfect detail. Okay, so this car, I acquired it probably close to 6 years ago now, and I traded a guy this car for doing paint and body work on 2 of his cars. And it was a lot of work, a lot of labor. So I have a lot of labor that I traded for this car. No money though. He paid for all the paint materials and stuff like that. But it was a lot of work in my spare time. And of course it didn't look like this. Originally he said, I don't know how he acquired it, but it looked all original. It was kind of a gray, medium gray color. It needed a paint job. It ran, but he wasn't no mechanic, but he thought he could be, and he actually had an 18-year-old helper, and he promised that he would get it all fixed up, running, driving, and everything else, and it was going to be in good shape, even painted. It was going to have the 18-year-old helper paint it. So I said, okay, I'll do the trade. And of course it took me about a year to finish them cars off, so that's when I was going to get the car, was when I finished the work. And after I did all that work and went to pick up the car, it was just in awful shape. He bought some cheap paint off of eBay, this gray, and it was already faded. And what had happened was he claimed he was going to repaint it, because his helper had put all Bondo and stuff, and it was all re-cracking. It was all cracked. Now this was after he painted it. He put all this Bondo on, so it just looked like shit on the front and the back. He started sanding a little bit or his helper did, on the sides. And I said, don't worry about it. I said, I'll finish that off. The carburetor, he claimed he had it rebuilt, but he didn't like the choke or something, and he took the whole side of the carburetor off, where the choke goes, and even the flapper for the carburetor. So getting this thing to start was just awful, and of course it wouldn't idle or nothing with all them parts missing, and I don't know what he did with the parts. He must have just thrown them away. So it needed a carburetor, needed some body work, paint. The tires, shortly after I got it, just started peeling. The tread just started peeling off the tires before I even drove it. Luckily, at that time, I had another Corvette that I traded. It was one I bought from not from the junkyard, but from the guy's personal car that owned the junkyard. Another 75 Corvette. It was rough, but he bought brand new tires. These tires and wheels on it here were on it. So I sold that car for a good profit. But I put my old tires from this car onto that one, and these brand new tires onto this one, because I was selling the car just as is. Junky, needed complete restoration. Okay, so the tires were bad. He could not, for the life of him, get these headlights to work. Okay, they're vacuum operated. He bought new actuators. All the vacuum system and the wiring to all the front was just all butchered, big time. And of course he never did get it working. So when I got it back to my shop, I took all that apart, and actually this bumper was all bubbled out, and it was full of Bondo and cracks. So I took that bumper off. It was the original rubber, and you can't get a replacement for these unless it's a fiberglass, which didn't fit worth a damn. And I had to put a fiberglass front bumper on here. I don't know if it would fit. This whole front end on this car was totally screwed up. That's why mainly the bumper didn't fit. I had to use a lot of fiberglass and everything just to get it this good. And I painted this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, probably 4 years ago. So when I took this front bumper off, there was no rebar, there was no absorber, and then the deal that connects the frame rails, it actually holds the vacuum for the headlights. That was broken. Now luckily I had a parts car, not that one I was just telling you about, actually another one, another 75 Corvette that this guy had traded me for partial labor on fixing his Camaro. If you watch my videos, it was the one that I used the engine for my 67 or 69 Chevelle for. So luckily I had a parts car, and I took all that bumper, absorber, vacuum rebar thing, a lot of other parts for this car. The vacuum wires going up inside the dash of the headlight deal was eaten off by rats or broken or something. There was just tons of stuff. One thing that just a little thing that just pissed me off was the gauge lights. The headlights, the inside gauges just didn't work. I had to take the whole dash apart, figure out that problem. You know, and this was for, oh geez, I must have worked on it 2 years off and on after I got it, just to get everything working, because I wasn't that anxious of just hopping in it and driving it. I was anxious on fixing the whole thing up, getting it all fixed up to in perfect shape, as much as I could get it perfect. So it was about 2 years of fixing all this stuff on and off before I got it done. And then of course the last thing was paint. So after that I got all the little stuff. So what it was, I'm just lighting a cigarette in here. So what I called this car, explained it as I fix one thing and then I find 2 other things. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That was this car for 2 years. Every time I fixed something, there was 2 more things wrong with it. And one of the problems here, which you didn't tell me about, we'll get under here. Oh, you can't even see under there now. The differential, you can't see anything with that spare tire cover. The differential housing, the springs mount to it with 4 big bolts. He had 4 big new bolts in there, but he cracked the housing. And come to find out, that's a common problem. You torque them too tight or don't put them on a little crooked, they'll break that housing. So that housing was broke. I had to get another housing and put it on there. And then of course I found out that there was no spare tire cover and no spare. You see now I got a spare in there. And I don't think there was one on my parts Corvette, but I got one later off of Ben's Corvettes on YouTube. I actually sold him those 2 Corvettes I was telling you about, parts ones. So this guy I got it from, it actually put new exhaust on, but he put it on without the spare tire cover. So when I got the spare tire cover, it wouldn't fit, it was hitting exhaust. So actually, that's why these mufflers are turned up something. I undone them, actually had to cut them off, spread out the pipes, and then tacked them back on there. And now they look stupid. They look like they're upside down. But there's nothing. That's the only way I can make them fit. See. But that's just for now. Later on, I'll bring it in and get it redone. So that was another problem, or another what, 3 problems: the exhaust, the spare tire carrier, the differential housing. It's been a couple years. These door panels didn't even fit. They had been off the car for so long and sitting. Must have got wet. They were warped the opposite way. I tried everything, and then I finally figured out I got to soak them in water, bend them back the other way. And then these things were so rigged up with the actual Bondo on these door panels. There and there, both sides. So you can't get these. They're like $700 for a set of door panels from eBay. But I did the best I could. Now I think this car used to be red interior. The guy I got it from had sprayed some vinyl paint on black vinyl paint on these seats. You can see some red going through, red on this trim. So it used to be red interior with a gray outside. The rear view mirror had fallen off. That little cement stuff didn't work. So we'll start it up. So I had another carburetor from one of them Corvettes that worked perfectly. So I just put the whole thing on this car. Now she just starts right up. First crank every time. Starts right up. Look there. Let's see the interior. I got all the gauges working. You can see water, fuel. I didn't get the clock working. Oil, volts. I don't think any of them worked when I got it. The tachometer's a little sketchy. It's not accurate or something. I could probably fix it, but I believe the speedometer works. Now the odometer reads 101,533. Well, 01,533, and I believe that's probably 101, because I'm pretty sure it's all original engine transmission. Engine transmission worked great. I do drive it every now and then. The little knobs, the little clip doesn't hold that knob on. I don't know why. It's sitting over here. I don't know if that stereo came with the car. I had to hook it up, or if I bought that one. And then back here, I just put a couple of speakers that I had on there. There's only one good thing original that I got from this guy about this Corvette, and that was the battery. He had bought a new battery. It's still in there and working. So let's look under the hood. Oh, that's a negative. A negative came off right there. I'll have to get a ground. I'll get that fixed. So as far as I know, I got some dryer sheets in there to keep out the rats. It doesn't work very good. Best thing to use is cayenne pepper. Sprinkle some cayenne pepper over it. Keeps the rats out. I believe the rats got and ate the spark plug wires, so I got a new set of the big thick wires. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to do this, but these are pretty thick wires, and I didn't have any separators handy. So I'm pretty sure it's all factory. It does have headers. Somebody put headers on it. Oh, the guy got it from, I think he put the new headers and new exhaust on there. And it's just a 350 cubic inch. I don't think I've ever tried the AC or tried to charge it up. The guy I got it from took off the fan and put on an electric fan, but he had it with a toggle switch. I hooked it up directly so it comes on all the time, because those damn things, you forget to turn them on and next thing you know you're overheating. So here's the actuators and everything for the headlights. Like I said, you can see all these vacuum hoses in here, right? Luckily I had a parts Corvette that I just took everything off of that and put it on this one, so I knew where it went, because it was just a mess. After I did hook it up, where my other tank is, only one headlight would work. It wasn't drawing enough vacuum or something, holding enough vacuum to pop up both of them. So I actually had another tank that I hooked one of the other headlights up to. So actually, I haven't tried it in a while, but we'll try it here in a minute. Over the engine, like I said, I don't think I've done anything mechanically to it. This dual snorkeler deal was off a parts Corvette, and it's supposed to be worth some money. It's a factory deal. Put the hood down. Try the headlights. As you can see, that one's going slow. But they're up. Believe me, I was so frustrating trying to get them headlights working. I was thinking of doing what they did back in the day and just delete them damn things and put in the recessed headlights and do away with all that crap. It took me a long time to get that working. So I did get them working. They work. They're still working years later. And I know how I can probably fix it now. The other alternative was to get a electric motor kit, but they were like $600–700 for electric motor kit. Now this is a 77, but if you notice, Corvette stopped the Stingray in 76. In 77, where the Stingray was, there was just a little badge deal there, and I didn't like it. It was a little flag badge thing. So I think these were off a 76 Corvette, and I drilled the holes and mounted them. And also the front emblem here, it also had just a little flag. That's off of 75 or 76. It's awful sunny, but you can see that. I just like them better than the back one. It's an original 76 Corvette, because the originals were just those little flags and I just didn't like them. It had a power antenna, I believe, and I put that antenna in there. I bought new L82 emblems. With this thing, I didn't have to buy too many parts for it. luckily it needed a lot of parts and tires and stuff like that, but luckily I had 2 other parts Corvettes that I used. So money wise, I didn't spend a lot of money fixing it up. And then other than paint, I couldn't decide whether to repaint it the original color, but I just went with black. Okay, so that's the history of it. And I don't drive it very much, just maybe about once a week or so. The guy I bought it from did have some new, I think all these little marker lights here, for all 4 of them, he bought them new. Well, they were in the box in the back. So it still needs some little things. I'd like to get new door panels for it, on and on and on, but for now it looks good, runs, drives, dependable, all the gauges, everything works, and I think that's about it on it. So I will end this segment, and then we'll go for a ride in it here on the next segment. I'll bring the camera along and we'll go for a cruise in it. I get looks wherever I go, people waving, and it's fun to drive. It's impractical because it has no room for anything, especially if you got 2 people. My father come over and the other day, and we went out to a restaurant in it, but there's no room for anything in there, but it looks good. That's why the next year after this, in '78, they did more of the bubble hatchback, lifted up. You could fit more stuff in it. But this is the last year of that recessed window. I just think it looks a lot better. Impractical, but cool looking. Like I said, I think that's about it. If you've seen my other videos, here's my '85 Corvette. I'll end the video with this one. I just got some weather strip for it, for the hatchback and the doors. Fixing to put that on there. And it hasn't been washed since I painted it a little while ago. It's getting, well, it's been inside the garage, so it's a lot less dirty than it would be if it was outside. And this one, of course, is well, it's an older 400 small block in it with the tune port injection. A lot faster than the black one. The black one just looks cooler, I think. Oh, also, this was the style Corvette when I was a kid was every kid's unobtainable dream. Because I don't think I knew one kid that had one. Every kid wanted one, but they were just too expensive, and other factors at the time. I think I knew one kid, didn't know him, but I think one kid drove his father's Corvette once in a while like this. Other than that, kids didn't have these, at least kids I knew didn't. But every kid wanted one, including me. This was their dream car. And I got one, and that's why I'm keeping it, hanging on to it, because they're, you know, they're not worth a ton of money, but if you have the money and looking for one, you're not going to find a good deal. It's kind of like you got to just come across. In my line of business, that's what happened. I used to have an ad that I would trade paint and body work instead of cash to work on somebody's car, and I believe that's how the guy called me. He just, yeah, I got a couple of cars and I'll trade your Corvette. Well, it just fell into my lap, and so that's how I got it. Lots of, if you notice that, a lot of these cars I'm going through on my old videos, I come across them in trades and stuff like that, just like my 70 Le Mans Flying Purple People Eater, and even red Corvette. These are all from trades. I'll probably make a devoted video on how beneficial bartering and trading up and all that is. But anyway, for now, that'll be a wrap for this segment. I will come back with a driving video here in a little while. Okay, folks, we're out for a test drive in the Vette. my trusty co-pilot with me. She don't like the Corvette too much. Likes other cars, but so we're just cruising along. Gotta love that view of that front end. Always love that view. RPM gauge is working that great. Speedometer seems to be okay. I was doing 50 and a 55. Wait till we get past this train trestle there and I'll got a little wind noise from having the window down for my dog. Make sure there ain't no cops. Dog likes to bark at the cows. Who cows? She's liking it cruising. She just don't like the starting and the stopping and coming up here. Horsey. And then it goes up to 65 after this road here. Cruise into town, run some errands. Drives pretty good, but it ain't no Cadillac. Drives like a sports car. But it drives pretty straight. Of course, these old cars, they ain't got no overdrive or anything, so I'm sure the gas mileage really sucks. I don't drive it that much. I think it's got a pretty big gas tank. I haven't put gas in it in a long time. Still got half a tank. All the gauges work. I'll stop up here at Wally Mart, fill the topper off with gas. Get some fresh gas mixed with the old stuff. I did put some fuel stabilizer in it a while back. okay, pup? Puppy okay? How's that? 3 years. Shift's really good. Well, anyway, I guess that's it for the ride along video. Give you a feel for it, what it's like being in it. So, like, comment, subscribe for me, and so you can stay tuned for lots more videos. Look at my video for my 85 red Corvette. We'll go for a ride in that. And that's, I'm estimating at least 400 horsepower in that. Since it's got an old small block that's souped up. And I haven't driven it since I put the engine in and painted it. I got to do a few little things. I got to bleed the brakes on it mainly. And actually it isn't, I've never had it tagged. But I could probably put a plate from another car on there just for a test drive. So subscribe and you'll be notified of all them videos coming up. We got lots of cars to restore, stuff like that going on. And I haul in, I buy junkers and clunkers, and I'm going to start doing videos of all the ones I haul in and go over them and give you my analysis of them and commentary. So I will see you all next video.